I haven't made a video in a while. We've had a lot going on. About 2 weeks before Christmas, I got a call from my stepmother. She said, "Oren, your dad died today." I guess he came home from work off the boat. He was a tugboat pilot. And he came home and was just out in his yard, out in his garden, and fell over dead. You know, my dad, among other things, he was a really good gardener, and he gave me a lot of ideas for stuff we're doing here. He was a good mechanic too. He helped me out sometimes with that. He was also a longtime supporter of our channel. He'd watch our videos and give me some ideas, recommendations, and stuff like that. So, you know, to lose him just a year and a half after losing my mom, it's kind of lowered my motivation, I guess you could say. I'm sure you understand. So that's one thing. And then around the first of the year, we got a letter from the tax collector that said our taxes was $5,300 this year, our property tax. And I said, man, how does it go up so much? It was less than $4,000 last year. So I went up there and I said, something's got to be wrong here. And they said, actually, this tax bill is for the wooded property by itself. And I said, that doesn't make any sense. The wooded property was like $27 last year because it's woods, it's undeveloped. And they said, well, the reason it's been so cheap all these years is because your grandfather had it listed as agricultural land because he was farming it for, you know, however many years. But the state of Mississippi is cracking down on that kind of stuff now. And if you're not farming 10 acres or more, then you can't have that exemption. So I said, well, shit, $5,300 plus the property tax on our house is $4,400. So we're talking about damn near $10,000 in property taxes, in addition to $5,500 homeowners insurance, plus flood insurance is another $1,400. So you see what I'm saying? You start adding all this up and it's like, man, we just can't afford to live anymore. So we decided, Kiyomi and I decided we're just going to drop our homeowners insurance. I mean, it's risky, but all insurance is a risk. It's a gamble based on probabilities, right? And it comes down to paying either the tax collector or the insurance company. Well, one of them you're guaranteed to lose your house if you don't pay them, right? The taxes. So we decided to just pay those instead for this year at least. So now we don't have any insurance on the house. If a bad hurricane rolls through here, we're kind of fucked. But, you know, it is what it is. Then, as if that wasn't enough, my mom's estate still hasn't been finalized. See, when she built this little house next door, she signed her old house over to me. But I guess when we did the deeds, she put the wrong parcel number on my deed. So what ended up happening was she gave her new house to me on accident. And we had no idea that had even happened. We thought everything was correct. And then after she died, and I went to get homestead exemption on our house, I realized what had happened. And so we had to pay $2,500 to a lawyer to help us navigate that problem. And it's just like one thing after another, you know. I realized that what I've been doing for the past 10 years, which is translation, is just not going to cut it in the age of AI. I mean, I didn't really want to do translation anymore anyway, because even before AI, it wasn't paying shit. But definitely now, with all these unexpected expenses and tax increases and inflation and et cetera, I had to go get a different job. And so whereas before I was working from home, I was able to, you know, film videos and stuff in between work, and I could take a short break and come, you know, work on a video. Now I'm gone all day, 6 days a week. You know, this is my one day off this week. I'm out here filming this. And gonna plant these onions later, but it's like I got 1 day a week to do all the stuff around here I need to do. I mean, this is 12.5 acres to manage. That's hard to do 1 day a week, you know, with a big garden and everything. So I'm doing my best. I've got to cut down some of those trees in the woods, the invasives. That's coming up. Still going to build the irrigation system. Got everything ready to do that. I was actually going to do that last week on my day off, but it rained a lot the day before, and I didn't want to come out here and dig in some wet ground, you know? So there's weather considerations as well. But I've got some roof jacks now. I'm going to get on the back on the roof and finish putting those screws in it. Because like I said, we don't have insurance right now, so I really need the roof to stay on the house. And replacing all those screws will help a lot when a hurricane comes through. So there's just all this different stuff going on, and I've got a very limited amount of time to do it. But I've got a million ideas for the channel, a lot of things I want to show you, a lot of things I want to explore and experiment with, and I am going to do those. It's just a matter of time, getting time to do them, you know. Now, I was lucky enough to get a good job, so I'm not complaining about it because the labor market's pretty crap right now. It could be a lot worse. I mean, before I found this job, it was a lot worse. You know, when you're facing tens of thousands of dollars worth of bills suddenly that you weren't expecting, it's just one of those things where you have to really look at, like, what are my priorities, right? You know, I like making YouTube videos. I love learning new things and recording the progress we're making here in Magnolia Bend and showing you some of this stuff, but at the end of the day, my goal is not really to be a YouTuber. It's to develop Magnolia Bend into a sustainable environment where we can grow some of our own food and increase the biodiversity and all that. And if I have to choose between making videos and doing that, well, I'm going to choose doing that because that's the goal, right? YouTube is just something I'm trying to do along the way. But if I don't have time to do everything, I have to reduce the amount of time I spend on making YouTube videos. You know, what I might start doing is making some more informal videos where I'm just talking like I'm doing now. That would allow me to at least keep up a little bit more consistent release schedule and keep up with some of the stuff we're doing, because we got so much stuff going on here. So I think it's really just a matter of figuring out the balance of time with my new job, and if that means I'm gonna have to make some more informal videos, less produced, so to speak, so that I can show you all the stuff that I want to show you, then that might be what we have to do. I still want to make the more in-depth, like deep dive type of stuff on certain topics, and I'm still going to do that. It's just going to take time to produce those, but in the meantime, I could show you, you know, here and there some of the stuff that's going on around here. But like I said, I've got a lot of ideas, a lot of interesting stuff to show you, and I'm hoping to make those videos real soon. So thanks for watching, and until next time, good luck out there.